Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a beautiful Sunday here at AA Garthwaite Stadium, 11th and Harry Streets in beautiful downtown Conshohocken, PA. This is Bailey Saul with my broadcast partner returning this week, Alexander Schragas. Steve Leinert chirping in from the clock over here on the left side, and we have, as usual, Nick Holliday and Pat Gariantes in the booth, and Len Evans roaming around with a camera making trouble somewhere outside. 302 Sports represented this afternoon. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Mid to upper 80s. There's a little breeze going, thankfully, for us. As usual, it is west to east, which is right to left on this field. We are joined this afternoon on the ref crew by James Kulinski from New York, who is filling in for one of our unavailable refs. He was at that terrific game last night, which some of you may have heard about and by now seen, where Montreal escaped the Empire by one in the final minute of the game. Alexander, you watched a couple minutes of that at the end. What were your observations? What did you see?
New York had a bunch of opportunities to score, and they just couldn't quite close. They also looked really sloppy, especially considering the last time I saw them was when Philly played them in New York, and just they were clicking on all cylinders.
Right, they trounced Philly that game.
Their D-line really struggled to convert. And so even though Montreal only had a small lead for most of the game, it never – until that last point, I really didn't think that New York was in it. But they almost scored twice or three times even.
Well, yeah, apparently New York led most of the game. And according to Caroline, the coach of Montreal, led by as many as four. So they were –
maybe it was just when I was watching then?
Yeah, they were really delighted to get the win, given that circumstance. And, you know, apparently there was a little chirping going on. Montreal has elected to take the upwind side, a wise decision on a pull that goes out of bounds, and will give them a brick at the 20. On defense for the Phoenix, which is interesting, we have Nick Patel and Scotty Zhu. Scotty Zhu has come back after a 2 or 3 game absence just for other responsibilities. Smola is out there along with 45 Nick DiGiorgio and 33 Bryce Dunn, who we haven't seen in a couple weeks. And, of course, Greg Martin on the mark right now with Bono close to the near sideline. We have either a pick or a receiver travel, some kind of offensive infraction that was 10 yards.
Yeah,
and Bono immediately turns it over to Matt Esser, who will get the D on that, despite the fact that he didn't have to do anything but catch it. And Nick Patel has put something up a little too high for Bryce Dunn. But thankfully, Nick DiGiorgio is there to bail him out with the scoop off the turf. Martin holding the disc with his back to us, to Patel. Still on this sideline. A nice shot up to DiGiorgio. And back to Nick.
Here we go.
Who gets the goal from DiGiorgio for the first score for the Phoenix, which is a break right out of the gate.
Yeah, great break.
Terrific break.
Really, the defense on the mark was really what forced that turn there and let, Esser just run up underneath and catch it. And then great patience with that D-line to play such patient offense and get the upline cut there. That was a nice little toss.
I think Trey kind of is anticipating that. He had a couple of handlers in there to run the offense when they turned it over. In speaking with him, that's right. And Steve's just observing that Nick Patel was sort of on every other handle once they did turn it over. But in speaking with Trey before the game, just very briefly, and it was terrific because it really was all he needed. He was very concise. He said he expects the same kind of game. They throw a lot of 50-50 balls to their athletes. They throw a huge number of hammers. He said, we're going to try to keep our offense moving quickly. We're going to try and trap them on the sidelines. We're going to try to force a lot of backhand and, break mark stuff that they're not accustomed to. Boom, break on the first point. So the Phoenix have to like the way they've started. What a monster pull downwind, taken at the 10. might have been James Pollard. I didn't see who pulled it, but Pollard will take the turn. Oh, and is stripped, immediately handed back by Royale, along with a 10-yard penalty. So another turn for Montreal, having a little trouble with this wind. And we have Scotty Zhu over to number 15, who I don't have on my roster, interestingly.
He'll get it back there for the score.
Unforced error and another break.
Right. And I missed who threw that, too, of course. Sorry, folks, for not starting out the way I wanted to here.
Cigaroni, 15 is Ciccaroni.
Ciccaroni, okay.
Ciccaroni is number 15 who caught that score with another upline cut. So
yeah,
back-to-back uplines for the score.
An area of the field that we seem to like. Yeah, I don't have. We will get a little details on Mr. Ciccarini. Between quarters or at the half, one or the other, with apologies.
So
I checked with the visitors' rosters, but not the home team.
Eric Nardelli is the defensive leader for this Philly team right now, at least statistically, and he's not in here
That's right,
today.
he's not playing today.
Right, so it's nice to see this Philly defense come out and take advantage of some of the miscues by Montreal and punch in those quick scores.
It's also interesting, the Philly-Ottawa game, I have to take away a goal for Nick Patel, an assist for Nick Patel, and give his only assist, actually, and give that to Nardelli, who had 2 Ds and assists fed off him. I still have that score sheet, so correction noted, Eric, just so you're sure that I am keeping up with you even in your absence. But that was one of those plays that happened so quickly. Nard was just in the right spot. They basically threw it right to him, and he threw the goal. Thank you for the hockey assist from Ottawa, basically. Greg Martin looking like he's going to be pulling here. Matt Esser with his distinctive mohawk / headband out there on D. And
no, there's some pause on the field, but I can't tell from here.
Are they looking at a clock issue, or there's something? James Kaminsky had to be talking to the Phoenix bench for a moment. Oh, funny. A contact, more likely. And so it's funny to watch our guys in the end zone there. Joe Campbell talking with the Montreal players. Oh, actually, it's Brian Monk coming back to the field. Oh, huh. Wonder what that was. Interesting. Something doubtless that we can razz him about later. James Kaminsky is working the near sideline. James, this is something I did a few times in my refereeing career, helping out other teams. It's actually a great experience just to get to know players and teams in the league. And on the East Coast, it's fairly easy, especially doing what James did coming from New York down here, or going from here to New York, as I did a couple times, or D.C., because all these cities are fairly close. Bisson with the disc for Montreal, trying to get around Greg Martin. He goes back to the 5 with Matt Esser on the mark there. Back to Bisson. And number 21.
Huge start down the sideline.
Little contact there with Esser, but the Montreal, I thought, maybe not. I've learned to be less certain of what I'm seeing out here. Oh, the Phoenix just had 2 shots at that with Nick Patel. That was a bad throw, actually, by Ciccarone, I think that was him with the disc. We have a pick.
So I don't think that throw was intended for Patel.
No, I don't either. Montreal.
But Patel just happened to be the person who was closest to it. Philadelphia is doing a really good job of closing down on the deep cuts before they go up. Of course, as I say
Speaking of that, right, the announcer's curse comes into play, and we have number 3 to number 35 for Montreal
It was
for their first goal. 3 to 35, Jean
Philippe Bisson.
Guimet. 3 through it, right. Philippe Bisson.
Way to go, Shag.
Well, they had been
Yes,
preventing the
yeah.
Montreal players from going deep. I thought very effectively, but
No,
Just as I said
you're right, Shaggy. We're not going to give you the announcer's curse on that. It's just one of those goofy things. Of course, it just means you're prescient. You're observing something that Montreal obviously corrected on their last time out. So now we have, for the first time, the Phoenix O-line coming out here. And that's going to be Himalaya Mehta, Trey Katzenbach, Mike Arcata, Sean Mott, and that's Ethan Peck. And who do we have down there? Dustin Damiano, excuse me. And the last one down there is Greg Strauss, I think.
Yes,
yeah,
Greg
13.
Strauss. Yeah.
So we got a little bit of height, we got a little bit of speed, and we got a disc going out of bounds for the second time in the first 4 pulls. And
It's interesting to see Trey make that switch between Scotty and Dustin. Have Scotty playing those defensive points
yeah,
to start with.
Side stack action.
Yeah. As Steve says on the clock, it's a side stack with Ethan Peck being that primary cutter. Ooh, there's a little bit of a flood play
yeah.
to Sean Mott.
Trey working it with Sean Mott and Himalaya Mehta. Damiano cutting through the middle. The contact is just called on Montreal before that throw, and it's pretty aggressive out there. They're certainly not giving any disc space.
No.
I mean, really, number 80 there is belly up on him.
Kevin Green. Is there even a disc space call in the AUDL?
It is not not technically a disc space call, but it's the straddling of the pivot foot or the not allowing it is an illegal marking position. So it's an illegal marking call. And both of those fulfill that criteria. Himalaya Mehta going down to the ground to pick that up from Mike Arcata. And, a nice break through the mark to Ethan Peck, who throws a hammer to Damiano in the end zone for each of their first scores. Dustin with the goal and Ethan Peck with the assist. And the Phoenix are up 3-1. Still trying to find out who threw that goal to Ciccarini, I guess it is. I do want to see his name better on that, too. And we may be getting Chiccarone. Thank you very much. Somebody is just helping me. Shaggy.
That was
the weather, we are going to get some breaks from the sun with just some of these puffy clouds that are coming over. There's always a chance around here for an afternoon thunderstorm, but I think at risk of the announcer's curse again that we may get away with it today. It's just such a nice day. Greg Martin with a terrific upwind pull that goes 2 yards into the end zone, but is popped out to the 25 in 2 quick throws. 81 I don't have for Montreal either. I'm sorry about that.
That's Quentin Bonnet.
Quentin.
And number 7,
Quentin.
that's Steve Bonneau. Oh, down into a crowd over there. It gets teed up. That was an aggressive decision. I don't know if I would have done that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Was that Igor Smola who did that up? Or
Yeah,
was it,
Igor Smola.
Yeah.
At least Igor Smola's jersey.
He had a few blocks in the last game, or the first game he was in, which I can't remember if that was the last game of the game before. Scotty Zhu at the 2, letting it go for Igor, who seems to have a little bit of a height advantage here, and uses it with a two-handed rope in at the 23, body. And a very high, lofty flick. There is no contact called on that. I saw an arm against an arm, but that's just me. Montreal gets it back and is doing a give and go here with a bad result. They got a little too cocky.
Not on the same
And
page.
he's looking for a call based on I have no idea what. Nick Patel to Esser. Esser just looking for who's open. And 33. Bryce Dunn was shocked that disc got through, as well he might be.
Man, they're
and he is D'd up. I'm going to give Bryce Dunn the turn on that.
They were really testing Nasser Bob Vogel
Yeah.
on Montreal there. That's 2 lofty throws that, were questionable at best. That
And Guy has a half a head advantage there on Nick DiGiorgio. It's not, again, it's just not, you think you have the break, but the problem is you're going upwind, so the disc hangs on that little outside flick instead of going out in front of him. And Montreal is having a similar but opposite problem coming downwind.
Oh, here we go.
As I say that, of course, they go upwind across the field, and it hangs again. And By comes down with it, and he lets it go just as a timeout is called by Montreal, I believe. Oh, what is that? That's a... I should know that. Let's get our little cheat sheet out. It is a call. Two hands over the head.
That's all sides. That's the only one.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, how could it be? It's not on a pull. Oh, it might have been nice catch. And a big cross-field flick. That's going to be roped in by number 95. And that was from...
right here, 17.
Is it 17? He's got a 7 in the number. Yes, I can't quite.
Antoine Jeunesse with the assist there.
Genet. So
That makes sense.
3-2? Still 3-2.
Yeah.
Mr. Yuli is in the house.
3-2.
Glad to see one of our favorite fans out here.
I will always defer to you, Bailey, for the pronunciation.
No. Well, I did another little check before the game, so I'm hopeful we will be on target most of the day.
So usually for the extra width of the field, we'll see teams utilize that full width. And Montreal's done it, albeit in a bit of an unconventional way, by just hucking to either side of the field. But Philadelphia's really kept the Frisbee jammed down one sideline. And they're making these flare cuts where someone will cut in and then flare at the last second. And I would like to see Philly use a bit more of the width of the field, but, if it's working for them, it'll keep working for them.
Sure. Mike Arcata back out on O with Greg Strauss and, of course, Trey Katzenbach over there. There's contact. Meta coming back in the field. I don't know.
No, that's going to be.
That's going to be called against the offense, I believe.
Meta gave him a little shoulder.
Yeah.
There.
Came into him with a shoulder. It's warding, so they're going to get 10 yards back. It's not going to go to Arcata. It's going to be Meta 10 yards back, I believe. It is going back to Arcata.
Yeah, they're going to call it on Meta there. I understand that call. I don't agree with it because it didn't look like Meta was pushing off. He was just trying to cut back, and the defense was standing there.
Right, avoid the collision.
Yeah.
Peck over to Damiano. We got Sean Mott in the end zone. Not quite open. Sean Mott's open when he doesn't look open just because of his jumping ability and his quickness.
And he
one
also
of those guys you love to send out against taller opponents who think it's going to be a piece of cake.
He also reacts to the disc as quick as anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You can throw something to grass and he's not moving, and all of a sudden,
he's shown that out here a couple times. He got defender Mac the disc, and Sean just went and got it in the end zone. There's a nice throw from Damiano to Mike Arcata. That was really pretty from Dustin. Really, really nicely put.
Yeah. Glad he did, too, because Mike was calling for it.
Yeah.
Don't want to disappoint the GM.
No, that's right. You give the GM the ball when he asks for it, right? So 4-2 now with 4:27 left. A relatively low-scoring first quarter for these guys, you have to say.
Yeah, they are really working the disc with these possession offenses. Philly especially. I mean, that's Trey Katzenbach's style. That's their strategy.
Sure enough.
They're usually somewhere between 90 to 100 more completed passes than their opponent all season, which has been pretty wild to watch.
That's a big margin.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it takes a lot of time, which is,
Yes,
I think,
it
what we're
does.
seeing.
Yes, it does. But the effort is successful. So with a 4-2 lead, Greg Martin is pulling with Scotty Zhu, Esser, DiGiorgio, Pollard, and Dunn and Patel on the field.
What a pull.
And nice pull again, 3 yards in the end zone into the wind. Nick on the mark, Patel there for Phoenix at the 20. They dump it back to the 17. A lofty disc taken in rather easily. And then brought upfield. Another huck. James Pollard going up, but can't quite get there. He was good not to foul the receiver on that play.
That's Francis.
We have an air ball that Matt Esser takes in, and he gets a little contact for the effort. Calls a timeout.
Nice
Calls
call,
a timeout. Smart play. Veteran play.
That was Francis Valet who had the big huck reception there over James Pollard, which is impressive because James Pollard is an enormous Frisbee player.
He is, and one of the features of that throw was that it was nicely put with a little bit of tail down, so it got over Pollard and settled right in front of the receiver, and he didn't have to worry about James coming over the – well, you always think about it, but as it turned out, James didn't come over the back, and that was probably wise.
Oh, man.
I think that was 95 for them, right? Francis Valet.
Yeah, he's getting chewed out by his coach right now for the Mechanix. They just did the thing where Valet will show how he do it with his wrist, and the coach will adjust the wrist slightly.
Right.
It's funny to watch. I never know what to do in that situation when I'm on the team, and if somebody throws a turnover, you don't want to go over and yell at them, obviously. But you can't say you'll get them next time. That doesn't feel honest.
Yeah,
or genuine. So it's a difficult position to be in.
A settle down motion or a chill call or something, just to move on too. You want to get the player to keep going. Don't dwell on it. Certainly, that's never helpful.
Now we get that same Philly O-line here out of a timeout.
Right, Ethan Peck picking up the disc. Greg Strauss, Trey Katzenbach out, Mike Arcata, Sean Mott, and Himalaya Meta. It's wholesale, basically. It might be a little early in some people's minds to ask for that, but we have Mike Arcata holding it at the 12. He's going to get stalled here if he's not careful, to Trey Katzenbach, who gets open pretty easily, seemed to me. And he puts a Blady flick to Himalaya Meta across the middle. Right now, the Phoenix are not moving the disc as quickly as I know Trey would like them to. But they are moving it. Himalaya to Sean Mott on the near sideline here. And Sean with an air bounce that Ethan Peck just drags his foot on. Oh, he's out.
Yeah.
He is out.
Yeah, he had to.
James Kulinski, it was just a little too high. Kulinski's right there. So now the O is on D. Damiano on the mark. Actually just forcing up line, but he breaks it across the field. Esteban Ceballos, and we get it over to number 80, Kevin Gruhl. And he puts a big bomb up to number 9. Again, a really nicely thrown shot to Nabil Shaouch. He is rookie, 19 years old, just turned. A great catch right at the 1. They're back to the 11 now, but getting across field, creating a little space here. Oh, Dustin on a nice mark. We're going to get contact there? I'm not sure.
It might have been a travel.
What is that? Huh.
I guess it.
Guess not.
Was it contact before the throw?
It must have been, yeah. The fall was, I really didn't think that was, I thought that was really just Cam Burden trying to evade. And Cam puts it into number 88 there, Esteban Ceballos. So Cam Burden to Ceballos for Montreal's third goal.
That's rough because now,
you've just used a timeout.
Your offense comes back on the field. So I really liked that timeout call by Esser because he got a D in the backfield. He got the D guarding one of their dumps. So when he picks up the disc, all of his players are now behind him. He had nobody upfield to throw to, and by the time they get there, it's 4 seconds of that 7-second stall count. It's really fast. So I like the timeout called by Esser, but if they don't convert, the pressure's really on the offense there to convert.
Yeah, it sure is.
Number 19 for the Royal. He's 19 years old today, right?
Is that
Number
19 who it is? Number 9, actually.
Okay, well, he was on the field with Trey Katzenbach on that particular point.
Oh, funny.
These disparities
Yes,
30 years.
right.
Might be an AUDL record.
Steve is making the point that the disparity between Shaush and Katzenbach's ages may be an AUDL record for marks on the field at 20-plus years. We have Esser and Nick Patel on offense here. And nice upfield by Esser to Greg Martin, holding the disc on the far sideline. An easy outside flick to Nick Patel, who is double-teamed immediately, and yet gets an easy backhand out to Brandon Pastor for his first goal and Nick's first assist. Nicely done by the D-line under a little pressure there. Huh?
That was great. It was a nice mix. And it's
like half the
invaluable.
D-line
Right.
kind of thing, yeah.
But it's invaluable to have someone like Nick Patel who can defend handlers so well and still make those throws.
Yeah, it's always, two-way players in this sport are where football was about 70 years ago. And they are prized and valued in great measure here. You'll see the points records, the points played per game records in the league are by some of the great two-way players that we have. And so now we're at 5-3 with 1:38 left in the quarter. Getting a little more like an AUDL score. Montreal trying to move it upfield fairly quickly. Number 12, Jacob Saunders to number 81 out there, who is also not on the list. We'll find him momentarily. Going over to Francis Vallet. I have a roster of about 10 Montreal players who are not. Oh! Almost picked up by Nasser Mbevogel there, but he just couldn't quite get down.
Wow.
And Pollard to Nick Patel. Ooh. Smola gets that with his trailing hand and pops it up to Marino, who goes up to Chicharron, who puts in the goal to number 96, Casey Vaughn, for his first score.
That's a big break.
And
They need
Chicharron with his first assist.
Montreal needs to figure out a different way to defend Nick Patel because he is getting anything he wants, up line, backfield, it doesn't matter. He has not seemed guarded the whole time, and it's really causing them problems because I think that their downfield defenders are doing really well, but when you're able to get such clean up lines like Nick Patel's been able to do this game, it doesn't matter how well you're defending downfield when your handlers are getting 20 yards by themselves.
And those, back in the day, we turned a local high school team into a national power by teaching them that small ball upline game. Sean Mott is one of the beneficiaries of that, coming along 5-6 years later to Pennsbury, whose jersey I'm wearing today just as a little local rep, but also because it's white and self-wicking. Greg Martin with a downwind pull finally, which he puts very nicely right to the 3.
He put some extra curve on that.
Little Gabrielle Malfete with the reception to Antoine Genet. And he's up the field on the far side. Little air bounce from 81, who we're still trying to find out about. Up on the sideline to 80. Back in the middle, Kevin Grue with the disc. 21 fakes the hammer over the top and instead goes to Grue again at the 4. Takes a little bit of a gentleman's stroll to get in there and puts a nice goal. Looks like 88 from there. He's the player who likes to put the disc in his mouth after scoring. Perhaps not the most hygienic thing either for him or the next handler, but certainly a unique way of celebrating as Montreal gets back within 2 at 6-4, and we now have 11 seconds left in the quarter. So Steve is on under 30-second duty, where the disc will not determine merely by its picking up that the clock starts, but rather by the release of the first throw, even on the pull here.
Quinlan. Number 81 is Quinlan.
Quinlan, okay.
Quinlan. I was just waiting for him to turn around.
Perfect, thank you. think I have him on the original, on the last Montreal score sheet, which I brought along just for fun. So the release is there. The horn is up. Arcata to Meta. Meta to Mott, and he's not going to get it off. Oh, he does. Just in time. We got James Pollard in the end zone, but it's taken by 88 Quinlan as he goes. Oh, I'm sorry.
88 is Ceballos.
Esteban Ceballos going over the top there.
What a D.
He seemed to roll over a couple of Phoenix. Perhaps not, but
I think so. I think
it looked like Ethan got mashed on that. You know?
I think it was after the play had been made, but
could have been.
They put Pollard out on that line because they were anticipating the Huck situation, and it was close. You know, that's what they thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was a good job by Trey. Great job by Trey.
81. Oh, this is there. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we have. Oh, that's the old Ottawa score sheet.
He went for 81.
So yeah, I'm still looking through.
I recognize the name.
I do too. I'm just trying to see if he was here that last game.
So we played them really early in the season.
We did. So how far back under my clipboard is it? Folks, we got to skip away here for a moment for our sponsors to bring you a little information, and we'll rejoin you momentarily for the second quarter. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Arcata came in at the last second. Oh! Very nice D by Himalaya Meta. We got to give him that one for stretching out there and knocking it down. Gets the disc back for the Phoenix. A little scoober from Trey to Ethan Peck, back across to Meta, who is rewarded with an easy flick to Scotty Zhu, who takes contact on the catch. Peck on the sideline, and he jacks it for Sean. Is that Sean Mott? Yes.
Yeah.
With the diving catch. This is what we've come to expect from him.
Sean Mott is a bit of a theatrical player. I think he could have had that either way, but it's fun to see him lay out.
Well, and he knows how to land so that he doesn't hurt it, but his focus is always going to be on catching the disc. Ethan Peck. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just prior to the start of the second quarter here, Bailey Stahl, Alexander Schragus, accompanied by timekeeper Steve Leinert up here, and the 302 Sports crew, Len, Nick, and Pat. You all should know their last names by now, you loyal and devoted fans. It remains a beautiful day out here. The wind is still from the west, perhaps a little southwest. It's not too brisk. It's manageable, but it is having an impact today, undeniably.
Mike Arcata and I did a Frisbee clinic this week on Friday, not that long ago. And it's exciting to see a bunch of those kids in the crowd because they had no idea what
isn't
Frisbee
that fun?
was. And,
yeah, that's great.
They asked for my autograph, too, which I didn't want to tell them that I was going to be in the booth. It would be tough for them to see me, but...
Well, still, that's great. You love that kind of enthusiasm. And, of course, you know, from my perspective, as someone who's tried to breed Ultimate for 40-plus years, which I know sounds ridiculous but is true. When I found out about it, I was a tender 22-year-old and was so excited because it combined what were then my two favorite sports, throwing the Frisbee and football. Somebody said, you know there's a game of Frisbee football, right? I think they call it Ultimate. I said, what in the hell are you talking about? Tell me about this. And, of course, I was an instant convert.
Yeah.
Did not even learn a flick until I got to college.
Well,
but
it's exciting to see all these this new generation of players who started playing Frisbee at a super young age and had the infrastructure to play competitively.
Right, and this is a gift that my generation, I like to think, helped provide to my son's generations. I have three who play, two who still play at a very high level, and even the third, he plays in a competitive summer league, but he didn't play for 3 years because he was working so hard and made it a point to get Ultimate back in his life. And I think it's just, you know, you'll see at the end of plays here, opponents congratulating each other, and there's a whole sort of ethos about the game that's hard not to love. The disc rolls out of bound on a roller pull, really right at the 24, So Ethan Peck will put it into play there because that's 4 yards better than the brick. He is instantly double-teamed and just puts a way big scuba over to Sean Mott, who gets contact on the reception but is not called.
A lot of contact.
Contact again on the mark. You know, really it's time to call some of those things that look a little incidental because they are disrupting throwing actions, and they are not legal plays. We have Arcata to Peck on the far side. Ryan Brown out front to Himalaya Meta. Can he get it? Yes, he can.
What a
Very
big.
nice play.
Way to
Ryan
start the
Brown going over to say thank you, Himalaya. That was a great get by Mr. Meta, who took it about, 3 inches off the turf there?
Oh, yeah. And he really, he was sprinting for it.
He
So
really was.
he had to lay up for
It's
that.
another
Awesome.
About to say the Himalayas.
wonderful benefit of this field being the lush grass that it is. And so there we have the first score of the second quarter.
That contact was actually really detrimental to the Phoenix because Mott was looking to turn there and get a quick break off.
Right.
And the fact that he got hip checked and thrown off his balance means it takes an extra second to do that. The defense has a chance to recover.
I think
I really think that should be
we have to remember as refs that the players still feel that we do not call enough infractions. An ironic, I know, and counterintuitive feeling on their part, and I think, I'm not trying to criticize any particular ref, but I think Joe could have called that pretty easily. At least one of those, certainly the second, if not the first.
That Hemi bid is an AUDL highlight. They should put that out.
Right, and Mott, of
Put that on the
course, showing his vertical leap, taking that over a player who was a good 8 inches taller than he is. Scotty Zhu on the mark with Bryce Dunn, working the backfield with Matt Esser. We have number 7 who went for a big fake huck, Steve Bonneau, that Esser did not buy at all.
Right.
And Nick Patel with a leaping interception, basically on a bad throw. And then Nick to Greg Martin, who stays with the play and gets the second chance.
Nice.
Goal. That's Nick Halliday exclaiming how much he likes that. We're going to give Nick both the assist and the D on that. Though you have to say the Montreal player, that was a turn on his part. And to my point about the wind at the end of the first quarter, it is a factor today.
We've seen a lot of miscues from Montreal in the backfield. I think part of it's the wind. Part of it is that I don't think they've adjusted well to this second day of a back-to-back. Their legs are tired, and when
you may be right.
When you're like a half second off and not synced with those handlers, that's what's happening. The handler threw it to where he thought his player was going to be, but his player couldn't cut back. So these are all things that happen, and we saw it with the Phoenix too. When they went on that Canada trip, it was much more difficult for them to play in those second days, and they had a lot more miscues in the backfield.
It's funny because you don't think players who are used to, of course, playing games like this, 3 or 4 a day, to play 1 a day on the weekend. But again, the pro game being timed, the games are way longer and way many more points are played. Montreal taking their time at the 34 here up to the 40.
They also have to take this 1,000-mile bus trip.
That's true, too. And with a nice goal into the end zone.
Antoine Jeunesse.
From Mbe Vogel, Nasser Mbe Vogel, number 32. And we do have a handful of dedicated Montreal fans here, which is great to see. You love people coming this far, or even if they're just showing up locally. But I think these fans have come this far because it's a 2-day road trip.
Oh, no, those are
Quebecians? Quebecies. We have the O-line back out for the Phoenix. Dustin Damiano, Ethan Peck, Trey Katzenbach, Himalaya Meta, Greg Strauss, Sean Mott, and Mike Arcata.
They've had a good amount of rest this quarter.
Mike Arcata, is he sucking wind over on? No, I'm just joking. That's just a joke, Mike. We know you're not. It's 10:29 left in the second. Number 22, Christophe Tremblay-Jonca, with a nice outside backhand pull that hits at the 20 and rolls to the 7, 8. So Damiano and Arcata with a big flick out to Himalaya Meta. They're going to make him run again. Ooh. He does not quite get in, but
milked it,
he's waiting for somebody, and he's fakes to Arcata and goes to Greg Strauss. There is a call.
Travel call.
Travel, uh-oh. That's a thrower travel, which actually should be a turn. It's only the receiver travel that is a 10-yard penalty. I thought the thrower travel was a turn. Oof. 81 Sean Mott on the 4. I hope I am incorrect about that. Trey Katzenbach back at the 16. Sean to the 5. And he gets Arcata at the 1. Who fakes the hammer. There is some good defense going on with Montreal right now. Sean Mott finally gets it into Himalaya Meta. Well, that's a curious thing to me. And once again, I am without my handy-dandy rule book, but I was pretty sure that that was one of the
it's possible that they were calling the travel before the throw, so during the...
Yes, it would have been. It would have been very interesting to me. Caroline Cadot.
Ref error in our favor.
Coach, yeah, if it was, it was certainly.
There's no, the NBA will not come out and tell us that about the job our refs did here. So, well, yeah, the NBA will review the tape for the refs and say whether or not they made the proper calls. We don't have anyone doing that for us.
We have another really nice pull, I'm guessing by Greg Martin, that unfortunately goes out of bounds just a little.
Godare ducked under it at the last
out
second.
The end zone. Yeah, he was looking like he might take a shot at that, but discretion being the better part of valor, and 20 yards being 20 yards, which probably 25 because of where he was in the end zone. And he puts up a high floaty thing that Scotty Zhu gets in front of. Scotty, with his quickness, took that away.
That was to the break side. That was an incredible play by Scotty to get there.
That really was. What a nice play.
Here to Smola. Nice break action by Esser there.
Only to Greg Martin over there. Scotty's second D of the game.
Get rewarded.
Ooh, and Matt Esser from Greg Martin.
I believe so.
It sure looked at that's who had the disc when Matt does his upside down, hanging onto the goalpost in celebration.
I think every league could take some pointers from Matt Esser about how to celebrate a goal.
I think that's probably true. We're going to give Greg Martin his first pending double check on that. Sorry, folks, I was in a.
That was great offense by the D-line. Again, they are much more so than the Philly O-line, even working the break side, taking advantage of the full width of the field, really watching the.
And that's another thing that we don't talk much about, the difference, between the club and college game and the pro game taking up the whole width of the 53-yard football field. It really, oh, goodness.
Tripped coming off the line.
We have a shank pull that goes to the Phoenix 33. That looked like Dustin Damiano, or was it? I
think it was.
Was that 26?
Yeah.
I think it was Colin Messino.
I think it was Messino.
Yeah, Colin. I think as Shaggy said, he tripped as he got to the goal line for the pull and just turfed it. Oh, and Montreal gives it back. Number 12 with a clean drop right there. Dustin Damiano going deep, and he's got Ryan Brown. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me.
Damiano,
what is he complaining about?
Well, there was a lot of contact between what number is that?
That's number 1, Brandon Pastor, who finally caught it. 27.
The Montreal player.
Oh, Miguel Godere.
So there was a lot of contact between Godere and Peck when they were jockeying for the disc because Peck's trying to reach behind him. I guess they're saying that he might have hit his hand to knock the Frisbee loose when he was getting that D, which is I think what the call is.
We have another timeout. Right.
There was a double whistle, X over the head, so that's
right. That's the timeout. Right.
So that stops the clock.
Right. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Stevie. Stopped the clock prior to the timeout, which was the proper thing to do. And now JB and the other refs are having a conversation. And I think JB is directing this mostly at Joe Campbell because he is the end zone ref on that end. Kaminsky is conferring.
So, Bailey, you were a ref previously. This game, I mean, it's really testy. And if I'm Montreal, I'm super frustrated. A lot of the problems that they're having are, you saw even before they threw that and it got dropped, the handler was standing there with both arms kind of struggling, like, what do you want me to do? None of you are making cuts. They're getting really frustrated. How do you, I guess, focus the players' attentions back onto the field as a ref and keep things from getting too chippy?
That's, I think, to be honest with you, probably the best way to do that is through channels, as we like to say, which means talk to the coach and say, look, this is what's going on. You need to get your players a little straighter on the situation on the field. Tell them to focus less on the calls and more on supporting each other. So what we have here is contact apparently against the Phoenix.
Yeah.
During that bobble session, there were 4 players who seemed to touch the disc there, or at least 3.
So I think the call is that Peck made contact with the arm of, I think it was Gymnast, to knock the disc loose when he was trying to D it.
Okay.
Montreal's in a spread stack here with 3 on one sideline and
2 on the other, yeah. And a dump who they go to immediately, and now they're, of course, in the end zone, risking a Callahan, but at the goal line now with Matt Esser on the mark. Oh, goodness. A diving Bryce Dunn helped facilitate the drop there by Quinlan.
He got a finger on that. Just a finger, but it was enough.
Did he? Well, we'll give him that then. We're gonna go with Steve Leinert's call on that on the D for Bryce. And they give it right back, unfortunately.
Scotty threw it a little bit behind the receiver.
Who was that?
Scotty threw it a little bit behind the receiver.
Scotty. Well, he's got 2 Ds, so we're okay giving him 1 turn.
And then incredible D. You were saying how the field's wider.
Scotty Shue is up again, and a Mac by Mbe Vogel, Nasser Mbe Vogel. And he's making a little bit of a hand gesture, palms up, like he wants something on Scott Shue there.
I don't think so.
But he is not going to get it. I think that's kind of the definition of incidental. Nasser curved his line of running back into Scotty Shue, and easily you could argue that he initiated that contact to ward him out of the play. Esser is going deep to Bryce Dunn, who is D'd up by Quinlan.
Yeah,
a little redemption there for Quinlan on the far side. There's a little contact after that. I think that's a good no call by Joe Campbell, though I don't think Dunn is going to disagree. That disc kind of did an up and down just as Vogel got to it.
The wind bounced it up just when
the wind is wreaking havoc on these guys here. Oh, oh goodness.
Oh man.
Poor Gruel. That is a turn on Gruel that, again, the wind mashed that thing. He let the tail be down and didn't throw it more than 2 feet off the ground. He turfs it long before the player can get to it. The Phoenix have to start taking advantage of this.
Wow.
What a play by Bryce Dunn over the shoulder of number 12, Saunders. Timeout called by the Phoenix.
Yeah, Philly
Montreal's frustration is here not with the calls but with their own lack of consistency. And we have to say, this is uncharacteristic of them. I think, Alex, your observation about the second game in a long game last night, which, as I say, they trailed for 96% of the game. Actually, I think it was closer to 97 or 98 because they only got the lead in the final 45 seconds or so.
It's tough for when your legs are tired and when you go from 1,000 miles on a bus to playing a full AUDL game to another few hundred miles on the bus, your legs are just, they're numb or they're stiff or they're sore. And we were seeing players get worked out on the training tables before the game. And once your legs start to get tired, it's so difficult to do everything because you can't step out as far in those throws. And Montreal, it's hard for this Eastern Division to adjust to these doubleheader games between Canada and the United States. And it gives, the Canadian teams have a really big home field advantage when the United States comes to play them, and the U.S. has a big home field advantage when Canada comes to play, just on the basis of that travel time. And
right. And it's funny because we were I think I mentioned in one of the previous games I was at my beloved summer league, and we were just chatting about the AUDL in general, and somebody mentioned these road trips that are kind of tough. But, of course, the fact is they go both ways. You know, everybody has to do them.
Yeah, that win that Philadelphia had over Montreal in Montreal now sets them up really nice because getting that road win in Canada was a big deal.
And we have Trey Katzenbach again with the O-line shift here for the Phoenix to Himalaya Mehta and Mike Arcata being the other handler back there with Ethan Peck working himself into a four-man. Mike Arcata on the move.
He wanted Mott.
He wanted Mott big time, who was wide open on the right side of the field here. He gets him now coming back. He's looking for Dustin, fakes the backhand. Nobody really bought, but he's up to Himalaya, and there's Greg Strauss going in for the goal from Himalaya Mehta. That's a nice play, and boy, did that look like money. I did.
First score in a little bit.
You're pretty certain nobody was getting by Greg on that play. He had a nice motor going in there.
Yeah, well, Montreal pushed that lane, but Strauss used his body very effectively to keep people out.
He did, and he was basically double teamed going into the end zone. But again, when the throw is in the right place and the defenders are behind you, it's a little easier.
I really like that point from the Phoenix. Their defense did a lot of work to get the D, I believe, twice, and then that O-line used the whole width of the field. I mean, we saw Arcata getting the disc on the far sideline from us on their home sideline, and then after he couldn't get the Frisbee over to Mott, looking back to Peck and working it over here. And that's what sets up those cuts where Strauss is just running.
Nick Patel with a nice downwind pull. The little guy can wind it up, apparently. 15, 20 yards, 15 into the end zone. Look at that. And the Phoenix do get up there to cover the goal line throw, but Montreal, again, a little bit frustrated here, getting only swings and dumps for their first 3 or 4 throws. Finally upfield to Vogel. He's on the sideline, fakes it around to Giorgio, and dumps back. Just a quick geography note. We need to cut that distance in half, Montreal to Philly.
Oh, okay.
Only about 460 miles.
Well, but then they got to do it again.
Right, of course. But the nice thing for them, of course, is that they really went about 400 miles and then came the other 70 down here last night. But still, that's a heck of a trip. Oh, it's OB with a gratuitous layout for bon ordre, I guess 96 is 95. Is that Francis Francis Valet?
Yeah.
Oh, he tries to get in front as the pull is Scotty Jou with a nice rip to Ethan Peck. He should know. Scotty forgets he's going downwind, I think, on that throw, and unfortunately we're going to have to give him a second turn on that because that was not Ethan's fault, you know. That was.
No, I believe that was Messino, actually. Messino.
Oh, Messino who threw that?
No, Zoo threw it, but Messino was the one in the end
zone.
Oh,
in the end zone. I beg your pardon.
Right back.
Thank you very much. Nick Patel, who turns it over himself. He throws behind Matt Esser.
A little too quick with the Nick flick.
Little too quick with the Nick flick. And a turn. Are you serious?
Yeah, Montreal threw it. They tried to take advantage of Philly.
I looked down at the score sheet, and the disc is on the ground again. Scotty Jou at the 10. Boom. With a flick to Bryce Dunn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scotty. Oh, geez, that's what happened. He hit Bryce Dunn. Man, oh, man.
Yeah, and then right after that turn, you saw all the Phoenix players, telling people to slow it down. That was a lot of quick turns in a row.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was really kind of excessive. But meanwhile, the Phoenix are putting on a clinic here, and we are at 12-5 with 4:13 left in the second.
It's unraveling for Montreal.
It is for Montreal. Well, they did, and they're going to have a 7-hour and 20-minute bus ride home tonight. But, as their coach acknowledged, the split was the minimum they hoped for on this trip, and they got that. They could still win this, but I'm sorry, folks, at the risk of curse, I don't see them making up a 7-goal deficit with another turnover at midfield by number 21, Gabrielle Malfete. We go out to Damiano from 96. Oh, and he is careless with that. That's 98, Cam Burden, who is a monster on D, and one of their D-line handlers making the D on that one. Got to give Cam his D.
Yeah. I think part of the problem is that, they're tired, but
Are the Phoenix playing down to their level now at this point? Is that you got that energy going on where everybody's so rushed. Oh, I got a man open. I'm going to go for it.
Ooh. Cam Brennan coming off the sideline. I think he's a little shaken up after that D. I mean, Montreal's offense has not looked their typical offense. They usually run this really clean vert stack where they're I don't know what I just said there. They'll have this ISO cutter. They'll have this ISO cutter making in cuts in the lane to set up a deep cut coming from the stack. But instead of that, they've had this spread stack. Their stack hasn't been able to run down the field as effectively.
Not getting caught.
I mean, that's an example. If the stack's sprinting down the field, they
was
get
that,
there. But
Quinlan, 81, I think, just threw that.
yeah.
So a turn for Mr. Quinlan, who is down here somewhere. 81, yeah, put him on there. He's got a couple Ds as well. We have Dustin Damiano, and in the middle there we have Chicharron.
Martin looking for anybody.
Greg Martin, yeah, thankfully Dustin came back around. Ooh, a ripping flick up to Casey Vaughn, who is glad he's wearing gloves today, but he gets D'd up by 21, Genet. Is that Genet? Gabrielle Malfete, my pardon.
They're going to rip it deep.
He does, which is their thing.
To Arsenault.
Arsenault, who no relation to the Ottawa player, but another big guy for Montreal. And he puts an easy goal out of reach. Arsenault has to take the turn, I think, on that. Because,
again, yeah.
If I'm Montreal's coach, I am just looking to wring somebody's neck at this point, 64. On the other hand, as Steve says, they're just tired, and it's hard to – another great D. This is 88 coming out of nowhere. Esteban Ceballos. And number 70, who is that? Who is that? Number 7, right, Steve Bonneau. No relation to the other Bonneau, Kenton Bonneau, who has a D on the end of his name. But another goal for Montreal and a hard-earned, good Lord, they haven't scored since the first quarter. Is that right, Steve? Is that their
second goal of the half?
Second goal of this quarter.
Yeah.
Of this quarter. They had 4.
You can't fix being tired, but what you can fix is the lapse in concentration that being tired brings. And if I'm the Montreal coach, that's what I'm talking about in halftime. They just need to focus on what they're doing because a lot of their turns are, they're throwing too quick. They're throwing it to people that aren't there yet. They have to recognize that their team might be a little slower getting to their spots and that they might have to wait a second on the throw. And that is concentration.
It's either Valet or Cam Burden on the table right now being worked on. 90. It's Burden because it's the only other player with a 9 to start his number, and Valet is squatting on the sideline. The trainer for Montreal has been working full-time today.
Oh, yeah.
She has not had a break.
I don't think that a full night game in New York followed by a bus ride is what what most physical trainers will recommend. That poll
and it's the same, in reverse with the Ottawa Montreal games. They're like 90 minutes apart, those cities, and in traffic it can be another half hour or so.
That poll made it all the way to the concession tent. That really traveled quite a distance out of bounds.
Yeah. We have Sean Mott on the far sideline looking back to Trey Katzenbach, who takes it fairly easily. Back to Sean, who fakes to the sideline, goes up to Esser in the middle. That's another thing that I, as coach, would preach often. That's a beautiful outside backhand by Mott to Esser to give him the option. And Esser with just as pretty a throw to Ethan Peck, who reins it in at the 2 before going out of bounds. Brian Monk backing him up to the 3, which is correct. A Blady flick to Sean Mott for the goal. Kaboom.
I can see why Peck wears the hat to keep his hair out of his face, but boy, did he look regal once that hat came off and all that flowing hair going all over every which way.
Yes, he did. The blonde surfer look. Ethan Peck with the assist to a standing Sean Mott,
That was a
who
nice.
is probably grateful he doesn't have to lay up or go up over somebody and risk landing on his head when he comes down.
That was a nice
to
give and go by.
Make it 13-6.
That was a nice give and go by Esser to open that lane up too, with the open side dump to I think it was Mott, and then he went up line, and
Yeah.
then Mott must have come all the way downfield then to get that in the end zone, which was some nice running.
Yes. His quickness is such an asset.
Well, that's endurance too. That's the
Yeah.
thing that
No, it
Montreal's
is.
not doing is after Mott threw it, he hustled back into their offense and got downfield to the score.
Greg Martin with the pull. Very nice upwind. 7 yards, 8 yards into the end zone. But the Phoenix not really covering very well until now. They get it. Nick Patel and a big pull that's going to fall to the earth. What is the point of this?
Go dare.
Steve Bonneau throws it away.
That's their offense. You want to commit to your offense, but
Well, it's true. This is actually Montreal playing into Trey Katzenbach's strategy.
They should know by now going in this direction to hold their disc in the hand.
Right, that they've got the wind behind them. Steve is pointing out they should know by now that the downwind not to throw these lasers, and they are putting out lasers that are just outrunning
oh man,
Bryce Dunn with a very weak sort of
it was ugly.
4-inch turnover attempt. He was trying to get it to Nick Patel, who hits it.
Wow.
And again, Greg Martin, who maxed the disc. And, what am I going to say, ladies and gentlemen? Play O on D. Do not slam the disc.
Yeah.
So Greg Martin basically with the push-pass assist to Montreal for the goal.
The Quinlan.
Quinlan,
who he was guarding. Quinlan was the guy that initially got D'd, and he just stuck with the disc and ran it into the end zone.
Yeah.
And that's something that maybe that doesn't happen, but the wind, which took away from Montreal, gave back there. Pushed that all the way into the end zone. Which is nice to see.
It is,
Yes.
it is my recurring theme here on defense, and I'm not afraid to keep at it. And it's plays like that, though, that help players remember as they're going to whack the disc the next time. Geez, last time I did this, it ended up a goal for the other guys. Let's just close our fingers on it and catch it. Another pull OB for Montreal. That's going to go back to the 20 or where it went out, whichever is further down the field.
We're in the last 30 seconds. That stops the clock.
Here we are, 26. So it's not going to start until Trey releases it, of course. He's going to the 20-yard brick. He's got Damiano as the dump and Marcotta as the swing. We have Sean Mott holding the disc. Arcata went deep. They still have 16 seconds. There it is. Ethan
Meta.
Peck going to Himalaya Meta.
Look at that distance.
That's a
Hanging
nice
it for him.
throw with 10 seconds left. Great clock work, great disc work.
Esser's going to the crowd.
Peck. Boy, oh
Trying
boy,
to
is that pretty.
Trey is walking at the crowd trying to rile them up.
Yeah,
Throwing his hands in the air.
rouse the crowd. Come on.
That was a big play. I can't believe
That was a big play.
after
and,
all those Montreal discs that we
keep
watched.
the margin at 7. And Himalaya is catching everything on the full run today. It's great stuff to see.
I can't
Yeah,
believe
Ethan Peck.
after all those
His third assist, I believe, yeah.
after all those Montreal discs we saw go in that direction that were just too quick and lasered to the ground, that Peck managed to get so much float on that disc. And just, oh man, he let Meta run all sorts underneath that.
Yeah. With 10 seconds left, we're going to anticipate a swing huck pretty much right away. But again, the clock won't start until the release of the first throw, which is there, and there it is. They're back with 5. Okay, across. And a gentleman who is used to bombing it long, Steve Bonneau, puts up a floater, a hospital pull, and it is taken by Greg Martin. But we are going to have a strip call there, I think.
Yes. That looks like what it is.
That
They said the Montreal guy caught it.
Right. That's a catch by Montreal. We got you. Thank you, James Kaminsky and J.B. Harrington, giving us the correct sign that is a goal for Montreal. Way to be on it, ref squad. And, folks, that's an example of how tough and tricky live refereeing is in this game, because that was a instant snatch and grab, and the grab was by Greg Martin, just stealing that disc right out of the Montreal player's hand.
It was Jeunesse who threw it, but I guess we can give the goal to Martin.
Right, Genet threw it well. Right, so yeah. Martin stripped it. We have an interesting thing happening here. We notice the refs are scooping the discs at halftime to make sure they stay available for the second half.
Yeah, everyone wants to come out and throw. All the
James Kaminsky pulling them up on this sideline.
Tell them to bring some pizza back.
Well, folks, we have a 15-minute break here for the halftime ceremonies and whatever treats we have here at the fields today. We want to thank you for joining us. The Philadelphia Phoenix doing their best to stay alive in the playoff race. Just a quick recap. Montreal won by 1 in New York last night, putting them at 6-4. The Phoenix are 4-5 with a chance to go to 500 today. Looking to do that, Toronto, of course, beat D.C. 21-14, I think, or 28-21. They beat them by 7. I know it was a football score. I remember that. And, of course, Toronto is now 11-1. D.C. is now 5-5, I think, or 6-4 themselves. Anyway, we'll check all that for you.
D.C. also has the tie.
But it's going to be tight for the second team in the East to get in the playoffs. And so with that in mind, we will rejoin you guys for the third quarter in about 13 minutes and 40 seconds. For Alexander Schragus, it's Bailey Saul saying thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the start of the third.
So this piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged, none of them were distracted. They seemed to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
Yeah, I loved that you guys talk about cancer awareness, and it's more about body awareness and knowing their own bodies.
And I think Eric is a wonderful way to bring this into school. That you come with a complete program.
The information is good. It's presented in a very professional way. The instructors do an excellent job.
I think the kids overall had a great time. I can see from their responses that they wanted us to get some more Ultimate discs in the school, and that we'll be playing all the way into the spring and summer.
We really appreciated you coming out. We love the message you guys send.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Eric, for coming out to the Pittsburgh area. It's a great experience for our kids.
Thank you for sharing your message with the kids. We really appreciate the energy that you've brought, and I really encourage anybody else who might be interested in this program to bring them on in.
So we have, somebody zigged when they should have zagged in Montreal.
Pick it up, Dave.
Does the dump to the man who's
Dave.
not there. Don't underrun it, Matt. Yes, nice job.
Go.
Dave Bair to Matt Esser on the turn. Arcata came in at the last second. Very nice D by Himalaya Mehta. We got to give him that one for stretching out there and knocking it down. Gets the disc back for the Phoenix. A little scoober from Trey to Ethan Peck, back across to Mehta, who is rewarded with an easy flick to Scotty Zhu, who takes contact on the catch. But Scott has a nice dump in Trey Katzenbach. Ethan Peck out on the wing with a laser to Mike Arcata, who finally gets that disc and the assist to Himalaya Mehta for the goal.
Sorry, Mike Arcata's my roommate. I got excited there.
Excuse me.
He just had a tough
Folks,
games. It was fun to watch him. Watch someone throw
Alex
it to him.
stood up for Mike there to give him the shout on the sideline, and he jacks it for Sean. Is that Sean Mott? Yes.
Yeah.
With the diving catch. This is what we've come to expect from him.
Sean Mott is a bit of a theatrical player. I think he could have had that either way, but it's fun to see him lay out.
Well, and he knows how to land so that he doesn't hurt it, but his focus is always going to be on catching the disc. Ethan.
Let's go, Dave.
Dave Bear with a D.
Big layout D by Dave Bear.
Big layout D. I'm sorry, missed that. I was looking at the score sheet. Dave Bear gets his D and is now going to pick up the disc. He's looking at Fortin with the swing, but no, Nick Patel with a nice backhand once again to the big guy, Vince Radums.
Big play by Philadelphia.
Nick Patel with his first assist, Radums with his first goal.
In a play like that where the defense goes out there to receive the pull, they turn it over, they get the D, they score, and now a bunch of those same guys get to come back.
Being careful, nice steady flick to Damiano on the far side.
Hug it to him.
Damiano going deep to the Nard. Yes.
Oh, Nard.
Nardelli. That was nice. Delhi to Alain Michel. So we had Nardelli on a great catch out there. And then the goal thrown to Alain Michel. The only person with more than one goal is Sean Mott. The only person with more than one assist is him.
Piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged. None of them were distracted. They seemed to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
Yeah, I loved that you guys talk about cancer awareness, and it's more about body awareness and knowing their own bodies.
And I think Eric is a wonderful way to bring this into school. You come with a complete program.
The information is good. It's presented in a very professional way. The instructors do an excellent job.
I think the kids overall had a great time. I can see from their responses that they wanted us to get some more ultimate discs in the school, and that we'll be playing all the way into the spring and summer.
We really appreciated you coming out. We love the message you guys send.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Eric, for coming out to the Pittsburgh area. It's a great experience for our kids.
Thank you for sharing your message with the kids. We really appreciate the energy that you've brought, and I really encourage anybody else who might be interested in this program to bring them on in.
Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to begin the third quarter. It turns out the gentleman I was speaking to prior to the game, we see him in civvies on the sideline, is actually Morgan Hibbert, who strained his right ACL. He played last night with it heavily taped.
Wow.
But it's 7 different shades today. And
that hurts. He's
swollen, of course.
He's one of the best players in the world. That's a big loss for them.
It's huge. And look, I mean, he's what, 6'5" if he's an inch? You know, it is a big loss.
So
he just said he really wishes he could be playing today for obvious reasons.
I talked to I talked to Cam Burden on the sideline. He's doing all right. He's going to be back in for this half. He had fallen funny on his
this
hip.
is funny. At first I thought we had an infraction, but the teams are on the wrong sides of the field. And JB caught that. Yes, right. That's true. That's true. We have to repeat the way the game started.
I don't know if it really makes a difference. I guess because of the win, but and I talked to Cam Burden, and he said that he's doing all right, and he mentioned how frustrating it's been, which is interesting to hear from his perspective, to point it out that, you know, their problems have been of their own design. Philly's playing really well, especially offensively. Even Philly's defense is playing really well once they get the disc, but a lot of the issues that Montreal has right now, and why the score's so lopsided, is because they were throwing it away. So we'll see if they can change that going into this half. Because if they keep throwing it away, it's going to be another very short and
fruitful half for the Phoenix. Greg Martin into the wind. At first it looked like it might go over left, but it's curving back right and settling at about the 16. Taken right away by Montreal. Quinlan, a little gentleman's walk there for me anyway. It looks like a pick, or I heard a whistle. Pick.
Yeah.
Back it up 10, Montreal. They just seem to have something going there.
It's true. They came out ready to play. Who wants it?
Oh, he pops it up, number 81. And Matt Esser, I'm going to give Matt the D on that because he got a hand on it, and that makes him the D. Bryce Dunn into DiGiorgio in the middle. Nick is looking for somebody. He gets Scotty Zhu as a swing, who has Nick Patel as his swing. And Greg Martin coming up field, lays out to pick it up off the turf, two-handed to be sure. Back to Smola in the middle. Igor is cutting away from Scotty Zhu, who's double-teamed.
Wow.
Gets a nice flick right between the hands of the defender, Antoine Genet. And DiGiorgio looks for a quick dump, Nick to Nick. Patel fakes over the top to over Vogel, who puts both hands up obligingly. Scotty Zhu with the dump, back to Nick. They're going the wrong direction. Nick, a nice under to Bryce Dunn. Fakes a backhand, gets his man on the ground, and then throws it away.
Man, that's the second time that Dunn had faked his man into the ground.
Yeah.
So it sucks to see him throw it away like that after all that hard work pivoting.
14-8, our halftime score.
I want to see, if Montreal's going to have any success, they need to continue working it with their handlers like they did when they came out here.
Right. Vogel pops it to Quinlan, who puts it up with a big high floaty thing. Esser's down there. How do you do that with Esser there? Do you not know your matchups? Esser with another D. And really, he just had position. There was hardly any contact.
Wow.
Nick Patel with a big shot to Igor Smola.
It's going to go in the
who
end
is
zone.
chased by Genet, but takes it
Nice grab.
easily over Antoine Genet.
He jogged the whole way.
He really did. Igor, we got to give that. That was Nick Patel with the assists.
Yeah, big flick Nick with the big backhand
Big
there.
flick Nick, that's right. And Igor Smola, who has not had a big stat game, but is making his presence felt, particularly on D and this time on O.
He's making the right plays, and it's important to have him in there for the defense, not only because he's so big, and Montreal's game plan seems to be to throw it deep no matter what, but he stretches the field a lot.
He does.
He provides. He's
got some speed.
Yeah, his cuts,
some speed and some length, and
his deep cuts. He's not getting the disc a lot, but he's opening up that under space for Nick Patel to work and freeing up those up lines.
Sir James of Pollard with the disc preparing to pull.
It's early in Ottawa, but it's 7-6 Outlaws.
We're getting an update on the Outlaws versus who?
DC.
DC Breeze.
It's another big deal.
Ottawa up 7-6 early in that game, according to Steve. And there we have Steve Bonneau ripping another long shot out to Andre Arsenault and gets D'd up by...
It's Messina, right?
Messina, you're correct.
23.
Colin Messina, we're going to give him the D.
It's a big D.
Very big D to offset one of his turns.
He read that the whole way. It really looked like, again, it's another throw to the defender.
Ryan Brown with the disc, which he just got from Dustin Damiano. They're working it up that far sideline. Oh, a nice rip to Casey Vaughn, who fakes out and then comes back. James Pollard with a nice reaching grab at the 14. A little uncomfortable with his flick, puts the backhand to Dustin with a backhand that is promptly D'd up immediately by Andre Arsenault. I think that's 13, yes.
Yeah.
Andre Arsenault with the D. And a really nice play. At the goal line, unfortunately.
Scraping the ground there.
And Arsenault with a layout catch of a swing pass. Bonneau.
They want it. Now they're testing Pollard.
The Quentin variety. James Pollard. Oh, and that comes down to a standing. Wait a second. Chicharron. We have Jordan Chicharron on that play.
Pollard went up early there, and as he was coming down, I believe the Canadian player caught a little bit of elbow.
In the face?
Yeah, in the face.
Yeah, well, that's a very tough one to see from the back of the play. All you see is a lot of bodies in close contact. But, yeah, you would think if a guy is walking off holding his face, there should be a contact call here somewhere. Jordan Chicharron pulls that out of the crowd, luckily. Joe Campbell.
It's Ceballos coming off.
Seems to be looking. Is that Ceballos who got hurt? Yeah. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a bell ringer, evidently. Dustin Damiano moves to the disc. And is whistled in a nice little scoober out to Chicharron.
Pollard's wide open deep.
Oh, and it's just Brandon Pastor putting up a big OB turnover.
He saw,
an air bounce flick. That, that was one of the ones Brandon knew the minute it left his hand. Well, everybody did that. It was toast. If it wasn't out of bounds, it was a hospital pull anyway.
They could have thrown any pass into the end zone there, and Pollard would have gotten it. The only thing that he couldn't have gotten was a pass, 10 yards out of bounds.
Yeah. It's a little crazy to think these Montreal swing passes have become a scary thing.
Wow.
They just get that one off in front of Pastor trying to make up for it. A layout D attempt. Didn't quite get it. Steve Bonneau dumps it back to Vogel, who swings it over to Miguel Goder. And 21, a little air bounce to our other Bonneau, Quentin. And 95 with his man bun, Francis Vallet on the far side, swings it over towards the middle to Gabrielle Malfete. Malfete with a backhand air bounce to Vogel, who readjusts and takes it easily, and then has two choices in the end zone and settles for young number Andre Arsenault as the receiver from Mbaye Vogel.
Yeah,
Nasser Mbaye Vogel.
Montreal was patient there. They worked the disc with the short game. They did everything they haven't done all game, and it almost seemed in the beginning of that point that they would just get bored working it and huck it into traffic. Because if that's the kind of game they can play, they can do that the whole game.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty effective. That's tough to stop.
So we have the first score for Montreal, and it's taken 5 minutes, almost 5 minutes of this quarter to get 2 goals. A little slow down. Yeah, as Steve points out, very long points characterized, of course, by multiple turnovers, as long points typically are. A nice pull that hits at the 14, rolls to Katzenbach at the 5, up to Ethan Peck. He is looking, and Mike Arcata is going to get the disc. Nice, out in the flat. He has choices here. Quinlan is all of a sudden gets aggressive on the mark. Matt Esser now with the disc playing on O for this point. Greg Strauss. Nice floater over the top back to Ethan Peck.
Arcata just unguarded,
Yeah,
running around trying
cracking the cup there, being the pull. Fakes to Meta, and now takes it back to Ethan Peck and
Get
gets
up
the disc
line.
himself, very cleverly checking upfield to make sure he didn't have to lay out for it. Oh!
Wow.
And a nice goal to Nick DiGiorgio, who stops rotation but bobbles it and stops it again. I think he stopped it on the first catch.
Man,
So
that was a tight throw by Arcata to really eke it in there. Our timekeeper, Steve, our clock guy, he and Mike Arcata actually play on the same summer league team.
Oh, that's
So,
funny.
yeah, Steve has a little bit of additional rooting interest whenever Arcata's involved.
So
I play on that team too, but I'm not playing in this game, so.
Mike Arcata, that was Nick who caught that, DiGiorgio?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think DiGiorgio. That was a very tight window by Arcata.
It was.
Nice
it
hands
was.
by
And
DiGiorgio.
Nick barely got that, got his little clammy fingers around it. But again, we're up 7 here for the Phoenix at 16-9, which, you know, it's a good position to be in.
It certainly is.
And Morgan Hibbert on the sideline has a maple leaf tattoo on his left shoulder.
What a pull by Pollard.
Pollard with a big pull to the 7 or 8, I guess, and Vogel with the second pass puts it back in the middle.
Wow.
Number 3, Philippe Bisson, I think that was, and there goes Steve Bonneau throwing it away again.
Oh, just too long.
Yeah,
So
I just,
nasty.
you know, I
They
don't have to watch it too long to know. What's he got, like 18 turnovers now? I mean,
It's
give
hard
him
to keep
another
track
one. He's
of-
got to have 4 or 5.
It's hard to keep track of turns.
Well, it's especially hard if you don't mark them down.
Well, yeah, but
Scotty Zhu to Nick Patel, over to Messina on the far side, up to Pollard after Greg's. Oh, it's Igor Smola's back in there. He has to reach back for that. Ooh, and throws
Just
it
too
away.
much.
Igor
Just too much.
throws it away, going for Greg Martin at the 3. Just a little too low, a little too fast.
That's a really difficult throw going downwind because he's trying to curve that back in, but the downwind's just going to flatten it out.
It looks like a timeout.
Timeout Montreal.
Montreal, their first of the second half. We will mark that down, unlike the first half timeouts, which we did not mark, but that's all right. Timekeeper Steve was on the job,
Yeah, we had
which I didn't mark down. Let me correct myself.
Philly
Steve
timeouts
marked them
in the
down.
first
I
half.
did not. Because, you know, I don't care, do you? Sorry, couldn't resist. Head ref JB taking a little swig on the sideline, getting some hydration. Kaminsky and Joe Campbell and Brian Moak, with a little chat at midfield too. Dave Hampson out with the D-line for the Phoenix.
They need to I like this defensive pressure that the Phoenix are putting on them because if they can close off this 10, 15 yards in front of the disc space where Montreal has made their work this quarter and force Montreal into what Montreal wanted, I think, coming into the game, which is into those hucks, but that they have been just not able to convert consistently at all. So if Philly can keep taking away those unders, I think now they're sending James Pollard back. So they can play really hard under and just let Pollard eat up any deep throws that come out. He's like 10 yards behind anybody. Yeah,
It's
he's
fun
coming
watching. Oh!
Wow.
Yes, down it goes.
Great D by
That's,
Patel.
again, Montreal complaining, wanting some kind of call, and I can't fathom what it would be. Scotty Zhu double teamed immediately. A nice kick fake, kick block fake around Nick Patel double team. They're contacting the disc. Thank you. A whistle is finally blown. I mean, you got two guys, A, straddling the pivot foot, B, contacting the disc, which they are not allowed under any circumstances to do while it's in the player's hands. the double teams for Montreal have been basically working fouls. And the one time they aren't,
no.
Nick Patel throws it away.
Man,
Sorry, Nick, that one's yours.
Martin
a little
was-
behind Greg Martin, who I'm sure feels, hey, I got a hand on it, I should catch it. Vogel at the goal line with Greg guarding it.
Maybe, but
And again,
wow.
a swing pass, turnover. Igor Smola, what? Oh, please. Unbelievable. He dragged the pivot foot, apparently. I got to go with James on that because he's so experienced, and I think Smola just got too happy. Bryce Dunn hoping he was closer than he was, but keeping his eye on the disc wisely. Dumps back to Scotty Zhu and gets the disc back to Smola, who takes Nick Patel.
Man, they had
and
two.
this time, Smola gets the goal, gets the throw, gets Nick Patel.
They had two upline cuts there. It's rare to see two people make the same cut and have it be so effective. But
yeah,
both players took the closer. Both Montreal defenders took the closer Phoenix, and that left Patel wide open.
Yeah. Well, if you got players interfering with other players' ability to get it, that is a foul either way, offense or defense. And it's a very, it's a subjective thing on some levels. For my part, when you see that kind of thing happening, any contact that even 2 or 3 inches disrupts the progression of the play, as far as I'm concerned, is a foul. And I think most players feel that way too. They're going to call most of that stuff. Dustin Damiano with the upwind pull that barely gets to the 32 and settles at about the 31 of Montreal. That's a little bit of a gift itself, but the defense is on them like white on rice. Dustin Damiano and, a little gentleman's two-step by number 2 to number 9, the rookie,
Wow.
Shaush, in the end zone for, I believe, his first AUDL goal.
Yeah, that's it. What a play by the 19-year-old. The whole
Number
team
2,
got excited about it.
Vincent Gamache, who is playing today, and Nabil Shaush just turned 19. I asked him about the pronunciation of his name prior to the game just to be safe, which I try to do with the Canadian players that I don't know their names. Most of them, not speaking French, but having some reasonable idea of pronunciation. And at this moment, I would like, in all humility, ask forgiveness for the ones I'm not doing correctly. We do try here in America. I know we fall down in that respect very often with foreign names and words and things like that. But with our closest allies, we would like to be a little better at it. Dustin Damiano up to Trey Katzenbach on O here. The Phoenix would like to just get a few more goals here this quarter. Mike Arcata with a good catch of a back shoulder flick from Dustin that had a little mustard on it. Ooh, and he barely gets it away to Trey Katzenbach. Volpel on the sideline indicating he wants a stall call. Katzenbach very patiently waiting for Ethan Peck and gets another one off.
Wow.
Ethan just goes to Himalaya Meta all the way across field. Meta with a beautiful read is still on the field at the 1, dumps it to Arcata, who is going to give it to Greg Strauss. Mike Arcata to Greg Strauss. Really, that was fairly cool and collected because you had a couple points there, a couple throws that I'm pretty sure got off on 6 in that stall count to 7.
Yeah, they're really testing the refs' counting skills there.
Well, and it's interesting because prior to the game, I heard a little discussion between Trey and James Kaminsky about the game last night, which Trey had obviously watched, and which had to do with some calls. James Kaminsky over fixing a divot on the field, which, had to do with some near stalls or stalls that were perhaps, as James said, maybe 6.5 seconds. He thought they were just a wee short. Not egregious, but just a bit. Greg Martin with the upwind pull.
Well, it's tough coming from the club scene where, they count to 10, but the average stall count is probably closer to 7 or 8 seconds anyways.
Right.
If you count at that speed for
Well,
the
that's
AUDL.
the joke. That's why the AUDL decided on 7, because most real stalls to 10 had been about 7 seconds.
Pick call.
Pick call against White, obviously. So we'll take 10 back.
We've seen a lot of this from Montreal.
James Kaminsky is pretty good on those. He's pretty sharp. We have Smola. Igor is deep man for the Phoenix. Bryce Dunn out there with shocking, a little upfield pass that hits the turf. Scotty Zhu with the disc now. He's got Igor Nick Patel over in the flat. Nick fakes the backhand, puts it back to Scotty Zhu, who is looking a little, gets it back to Nick Patel. Little contact, we'll take 10. Thank you very much. He's getting the crap bumped out of him. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just to be a little blunt about it. At the 9, he gets the whistle. And he puts a backhand out that is D'd up. Nick, that's another turn for you. And that's a 4-pack this game. Big bomb that will not be caught. Maybe not.
It's hanging.
I am
it's hanging.
mistaken. That's a nice catch. A nice rundown by Andre Arsenault for the about time goal for Montreal. Only their second of the half with 1:41 left in the quarter. To say that's uncharacteristic, ladies and gentlemen, might be the understatement of the game day. It's just not like that to be this sloppy. But I think Alex is right. It's got to be a combination of fatigue and the wind here.
That'll help though. Montreal F-fires Montreal. That's a big break for them. That might be their first break of the game even. That was a huge end zone D. And then sending it back the other way. That was not a break. That was a hold.
Not a break, okay.
But it's impressive defense for them to.
Either way, it's
right,
only
for their O-line,
second goal of the half. I just took your word for that. I should be more careful. No,
well, it was the meta. It was the Huckton meta.
88. Esteban Ceballos is indeed back on the field. It rolls out at about the 14. Brian Monk over there with the mark. Trey Katzenbach with a sideline disc that's back in play. Almost immediately, he is double-teamed. Blady flick to Mott over the top. Very nice. That's actually a pure blade. And Mike Arcata all alone.
Tracks it down.
On the near sideline here. Tracks that down. Nice dump to Sean Mott. And big swing to Trey. Up to Himalaya. Ever-present and open up field Meta. Back to Trey Katzenbach. Back to Sean Mott. Arcata with a nice cut inside. A little bit of a gentleman's walk there, but Dustin Damiano stopping at the 15. Little air bounce, backhand dump to Sean Mott, who goes to the 2. Greg Strauss in to Himalaya Meta.
Nice play.
That's Himalaya's 4th goal of the game. Greg Strauss's first assist. I think one of the things I'm noticing here, looking at the score sheet for the Phoenix, is a very nice balanced attack. Nick Patel, despite his 4 turns, also has 3 assists and 2 goals. Himalaya Meta with 4 goals and 1 assist. And Ethan Peck with 3 assists. But beyond that, nobody has more than 2 of anything. And that, to me, is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's
true.
That's, you don't know where you're going to get socked from on this point.
And that was a beautiful point by the Phoenix.
And it really was. I think that's also a testament to the way Trey uses the talent he has on this team as a team.
Well, and how he's trained them to always look for that next throw.
Right. Open man O. It's really the best thing in any level of ultimate, honestly. Heading towards the sideline, Montreal takes it in bounds to get it in play quickly. Their first 2 throws are basically uncovered. You have number 2, Vincent Gamache.
Rookie
out there, and the rookie gets it across. And then it's 98, just throws it away.
It's Cam Burden.
Cam Burden, that's a rare thing for him. Kaush is on the goal line on D.
There you get it right back.
That was just a flat-out miss, I think, by Scotty Zhu. It did a little air bounce over his hand, but it was a good throw. And that's a goal. That's a goal from Vincent Gamache, number 2 to 98.
Cam Burden.
Little redemption for Burden on that play. Just a very odd. I'm I hate to do it, Scotty, but I'm going to give you the turn because the throw is good. It was an air bounce. You see that when the disc just jumps 5 inches up. And, it's a quarter inch from his hand and goes right over it. As a receiver, that's frustrating because anything that's that close, you just assume you're going to get it. You're already thinking about the next play.
It's interesting to see Scotty on this D-line. It's the first time that I've seen it at a home game. And I guess it's because he's been absent for so many games in a row now. And he's a really good defender. It's an interesting switch.
At this point, we now have a 4-4 tie for this half. We're back to 7 again. Oh, wait, it was 14-8 at half, so it was 6. 5, yeah, we have 5-4. So Phoenix 13-18. We have 19, correct. I missed one up top for the Phoenix. Ethan Peck. Ooh, Sean Mott has to come back a little. He puts a lady flick out to Mike Arcata. There's going to be a lot of people there. And that's eaten up by number 95, who lofts a meaningless on-field. Oh, they're trying to mack it to each other. That's not going to happen. The third quarter is over, ladies and gentlemen.
That was
with the score 19-12. A quick turn by Montreal yields no fruit and no damage on the turnover by the Phoenix.
It was a much better quarter for Montreal, though, coming out of the half.
Yes, yeah. And with that being said, we will part company for a couple of minutes and rejoin you at the start of the fourth. Thanks, folks.
Let's go, Dave.
Dave Bear with a D.
Big layout D by Dave Bear.
Big layout D. I'm sorry, missed that. I was looking at the score sheet. Dave Bear gets his D and is now going to pick up the disc. He's looking at Fortin with the swing, but no, Nick Patel with a nice backhand once again to the big guy, Vince Radums.
Big play by Philadelphia.
Nick Patel with his first assist, Radums with his first goal.
And a play like that where the defense goes out there to receive the pull, they turn it over, they get the D, they score, and now a bunch of those same guys get to come back.
But Scott has a nice dump in Trey Katzenbach. Ethan Peck out on the wing with a laser to Mike Arcata, who finally gets that disc and the assist to Himalaya Mehta for the goal.
Sorry, Mike Arcata's my roommate. I got excited there.
Excuse me.
He just had a tough
folks. Yeah,
games. It was fun to watch him. Watch someone.
Alex stood up for Mike there to give him the shout.
And we're back. This is Alex Schragus here reporting. Bailey took a quick step out, but he'll be back soon. We're seeing Philly's O-line take the field for this fourth quarter. I want to see Philadelphia pour it on here. No letting up off the gas. They're carrying the 7-point lead into the fourth quarter. Let's see them push that lead. See them score 19 points just in the quarter. It's never been done, but maybe they'll do it. The wind's picked up a little bit, which I enjoy. It's exciting to watch these players try and throw in the wind. They're really good at it. So it's very impressive to watch it happen. There's ice on almost every player on the Montreal sideline. I believe it's to cool them down because most of them have it on top of their heads. But it's funny to watch them walking around with ice bags on their heads. We have Montreal pulling to the Phoenix here.
Replacement.
Yule has sat down at the broadcasting station to see what's happening now.
I saw a lot of things, man. You hear meat marking from the top.
Yuli trying to take my place here, ladies and gentlemen. Montreal with the pull, a roller by James. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, James Pollard. Antoine Genet, tapped down by Damiano at the 20. Trey Katzenbach swinging to Mike Arcata, right up to Shawnee Mott. Oh, and he sees a Greg Strauss deep. Greg, you should have kept going. Himalaya would definitely hit you with that. Instead, he dumps to Sean. A big Blady swing to Mike Arcata, who is unmarked all alone. Dustin Damiano at the 15. Back to Mike, still unguarded.
If they're not going to guard him.
Nice fake. Oh, he almost turfs it. Sean Mott scoops it up. Mike with a nice, who's going to get it? Dustin Damiano or Greg Strauss? Either one will do.
Nice quick score.
Mike Arcata calling for the crowd. Very nice quick score.
That was an interesting strategy to not ever guard Mike Arcata.
Yeah, what? You got to wonder, what's y'all thinking out there?
I don't know if I would do that, but I'm not the professional. So.
So we have a 7-4 lead this half for the Phoenix, who I have to say seem to be feeling their oats a little now. And I think also, you know, when you talk about those back-to-back games, you do have to remember it's within 18 hours. They started last night at 6:30 or 7 and didn't end till 9.
Yeah.
And today, you know, 16 hours later, 17 hours later, they're starting at 1 in the sun, of course.
Yeah, it is hot.
It is hot today out there. We got some shade in here. Ooh, Greg Martin, it's just out, so it's going up to the brick.
Yeah, just a bit
just
outside.
Out. James Kaminsky on that, as well as Joe Campbell.
Our clock guy Steve is really talking himself up there.
11:22 left in the third. 17 to the rookie Shaush. On this side.
Oh, Gamache was ready for that hammer. Now he's going to throw a big
Oh,
flick.
look at that. That's
Quinlan.
a pretty goal. Gamache is really trying to do it pretty much by himself.
He's taking the assist lead. You know, he's excited. We have him on the reserve list. It's possible he's, you know, that fresh leg and he's coming out here. He's got these fresh legs coming out. That matters. You know, he might be on the reserves normally, but when he's fresh,
well, I think he's clearly one of their better players.
No, he's on our reserve sheet.
Oh, but I think that's just this game.
Oh, I see.
Been intended. Whose is this then? One of these is because mine is here. And a nice pull to the 4.
I got distracted by the music.
Coming up when Trey Katzenbach and Dustin Damiano playing a little catch. Dustin unguarded. Sean Mott with a big lefty flick to Mike Arcata.
Wow.
Oh, what a pretty play. Roped in easily at the 6, and Mike again unguarded until he's double-teamed. Then he looks for the easy dump back to Sean Mott, who threw the original pass and throws an easy goal to Himalaya Mehta.
Man.
Golly gee. Folks, I think things may be getting a little out of hand here for the poor Montreal Royale.
I mean, they scored. It's just been 3 points, so they scored on their offensive possession also, but they have to stop making things look so easy for Philadelphia. Their O-line.
You've got to appreciate Sean Mott's willingness to continue in the play after starting with a big huck back here at midfield. He throws to somebody and then gets the pass from them at the 8 or 9 there.
And we talked about how in the beginning of the season.
Endurance.
Well,
speed, endurance.
We talked about how in the beginning of the season Mott was still one of the most valuable players on the Phoenix, but not stuffing the stat sheet like he did that last year. And now you're looking at it. He leads in assists. He leads in goals. He leads in plus minus. You know, his steady, never fail play.
I think we want to try now to keep the disc out of Mr. Gamache's hands. He's getting every other throw here.
Quick update from Ottawa, 13-10 Outlaws. We're big Outlaws.
The Outlaws up on DC right now, helping make that third spot in each division available.
Wow.
Oh, a little give and
Quick
go.
hands.
You love to see that. Nick DiGiorgio with the D. Don't do that give and go thing out here.
He's going to get rewarded with an opportunity for the score.
Throws.
Not quite enough.
DiGiorgio ropes it in at the 3. Who threw that to him?
That was Zoo.
Scotty.
Zoo.
And
there
Matt
we go.
Esser
Reward
says,
him.
Let's give him the goal.
Reward him. Nice bookends.
Matt Esser with the assist. Nick DiGiorgio with the goal. And Again, he's got 2 goals, 1 assist, so he's not killing it on the stat sheet, but he's part of a very balanced attack.
I mean,
this is a bunch of guys just doing a little bit of everything.
This is one of the rare games where I think our defense has as many goals and assists as our offensive players do. So
yeah,
they're getting a lot of chances to push their stat portfolio. That was a really heady play by DeGiorgio to get that D. It's tough to sneak in when players are giving and going like that. And just, quick hand, slide it down.
It's a rhythm thing. You got to time that just right so as not to get a strip or a foul.
Yeah.
Which
Or to cut off the throw.
Right.
Kind of baited it in there.
Did beautifully. You got to love that. And James Pollard going to let it rip. Ooh, that's a goodie. Not too high, not too low. Going in the end zone, don't you know, to the 5, -5. Out to Genet.
The pulling Pollard.
Or Steve Bonneau, I'm sorry. If I'm the Phoenix, I want Steve Bonneau hucking it because he's not been on target much today. Sad to say for him.
I want any of their players.
Vogel with a nice grab on the sideline on a disc that was thrown a little too high. Montreal faking the give and go lest they get squashed again.
Over to Bonneau.
Little 27 change of pivot foot. They do that too much. Miguel Godert. And there he goes, Miguel Godert for an easy goal. Very just simple throw into number 80 on that
Kevin
play.
Gruhl.
Kevin Gruhl. Glue. Actually, there's no L or X on that, I was told.
Kevin Gruhl. I mean, you saw there.
Yeah, you just want to say something. 22-14, though. I mean, goodness.
If Montreal stays patient and they don't huck it and they just work it in that intermediate zone, they're going to score. But they don't have time for that.
Yeah.
They need to step up on defense if they're going to hope to get back in this game. And it's looking less and less likely with such a prodigious Phoenix lead.
22 or 23? I think I had 22 before. 22? Okay.
I have 2. I have 22.
Yeah, okay. Good. 22-14. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yes, we just got a Montreal score. I was thinking.
We haven't got to see many
Montreal scores.
Well, or Phoenix.
Oh
Phoenix
my
playing
goodness.
so hard.
That's going OB, or I should say coming OB.
It's coming.
Big time, right to the track.
Little
James Kaminsky indicating the obvious.
A little less strong. We might have flown into the booth.
Ethan,
that would have been exciting.
by the way, the reason I understand that Jordan Chicharron is out here today is that Ethan Fortin is a scratch.
Yeah,
something or hurt something.
I
right?
talked to him on the sideline. He played all day yesterday for Patrol, the Philadelphia club team, and then he just woke up. He couldn't move his knee.
Oh my gosh.
So there's no.
Never like to hear.
He went to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with it. Exactly. It's just stiff.
Mike Arcata on the far side, and that just apparently pretty much the reason Hibbert is not playing today either.
Wow.
That he played all day yesterday, and
his
knee is just not functioning. We got contact against Himalaya Meta. He will take 10. Very nice discussion with Hibbert prior to the game. It's, while the action has been hard fought on the field, it's not been too chippy here today either. That's a Sean Mott
with
a very simple backhand
to
Ethan Peck, who beat his man across the front.
Philadelphia's not taking a lot of time off the clock with these scores.
And, to be frank with you, I'm not too worried about that, given the rate and ease with which they're scoring.
Yeah, if they're going to be that consistent, I guess it doesn't matter.
I think the other thing that we're seeing is Montreal's O-line is converting this quarter, which is part of the reason why they're putting points on the board so quickly compared to the other quarters, because we don't have Philly getting a D and then working it.
Valet giving their 19-year-old rookie Shaoush a hug coming off the field. They seem to be really excited about him, and you can understand why. He's level-headed for one so young. He's got some size and length and quickness on him, which helps guys like Tremblay, Jonca, and Hibbert out, who are the big, tall fellas on this team.
Oh, Greg. And he's got
along with Gamache, who is about to receive the pull about 15, 18 yards in the end zone.
He's got those young knees, too.
Yes,
they're
pops
probably
it out to number 12, Jacob Saunders, who's been working well with him all day. You could say Vince. Oh, wow.
What a snag.
That was close, but what a nice grab by
Quinlan.
Quinlan again.
Saunders to Gamache. Oh, Gamache looking for a flick, but thinks better of it.
Yeah. They're trying to be smarter, and I think it's wise. The stuff that.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, here we are. Big hospital pool. You got 2 Phoenix down there. That's not
nice
going to go
grab.
well for them. Mike Arcata, is that? No.
Great D. I think it's small.
So that's. No, that's Jordan. That's Chicaron. Chicaron with a nice D right out of the air.
15.
Yeah, 15, right. Chicaron.
Very small.
Ethan Fortin's replacement. There's Smola with the disc. Nice flick to Bryce Dunn, who gives it back to him after making a leap to catch. And Jordan Chicaron for his second goal from Bryce Dunn with his first assist. And now we have almost every single player on the Phoenix. The only 2 without points at this moment are Trey Kotzenbach and Colin Messino.
And Scotty.
No, Scotty Zhu has points, doesn't it? Yeah, he has an assist.
Oh, any points.
He has an assist. Any points, right. No, Scotty has an assist. But, his importance in the middle not to be denied, the number of touches and another guy with quickness out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Philly's gotten so many breaks. We don't usually see this from Philadelphia to get this many breaks in a game. And it's really letting all their players
crazy here.
Get on the board.
And they're doing 10-6 this half.
They're doing it without Dave Bear, Ethan Fortin, Eric Nardelli, a lot of their key defensive players. And it doesn't matter. They're slotting in next man up mentality. They're slotting in whoever's here, and they're playing incredible defense, and they're capitalizing offensively whenever Montreal's
Pollard
turned
with
it.
a nice pull to the 15 that does hang a little, but Phoenix, there we go. Nobody's looking.
Bono.
Oh, and he traps it.
Well, he was trying to stay in bounds. He was right on the edge.
That's right. You're right. You're right, Alex. He
might
was
have
trying to hang in there and just couldn't get his toe down and cast the disc.
He might have been going for a greatest, trying to pull it, trying to put it back in.
Throw it back, yeah.
And just couldn't get enough of the disc to do it.
James Pollard, nice, easy. Nice layout by Ethan Peck off that pass from Colin Messino.
That's Casey Vaughn.
Casey Vaughn, sorry, thank you. No, I think Ethan Peck laid out to get it and then tossed it to Casey. And that's Pollard getting beat. A rare Andre Arsenault take over James Pollard. In fairness, the throw hung too long. It was a hammer that just got knocked down a little by the breeze.
Ethan's not on the field.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
sorry.
Casey.
I apologize. Ethan's not on the field. That would make it impossible. So I sit corrected. Alex,
That's all right.
Alex be right. 21, how do you end up that far up? And, Arsenault is just doing it all here today. And boom, there's the goal.
Machino trying to get on the layup.
Arsenault to Steve Bono, who finally gets a goal instead of having to throw away an assist.
Yeah, I don't have Bono anywhere. That's a stat I have on the sheet. So.
Oh, interesting. And now I know that's rare for him.
Yeah, he's had a rough game.
He has. He's been well covered.
I feel like I'm being taunted here by the people in the booth who are eating pizza. Thanks.
Good deal.
Oh, man.
We have a 24-15 score, folks, with 6:10 left in the game.
That was one of those plays where Pollard's newer to the game.
Goals. One of those pulls, I'm sorry?
That's one of those plays where Pollard's newer to the game of Frisbee, and he mist times his jump. And I think, like, in a year, no one's getting it over.
Right, he's not going to be doing that. Yep. Mike Arcata taps it down at the 20. And Jordan Chicaron centers it to Captain Trey Kotzenbach, who is double-teamed pretty quickly, but puts an easy hammer over the top to Ethan Peck. Nice flick in the middle to Himalaya Mehta, to Mike Arcata, who's really in the middle. And unguarded momentarily, but then marked. Dumps it back to Trey. Solid quick flick to midfield, Himalaya Mehta. And he goes to Sean Mott.
Not quite in the end zone.
Looking off Ethan Peck, and Sean is at the 1, who then cross fields
Strauss.
To Greg Strauss with a sliding soccer celebration catch.
You saw there every time someone on Philadelphia got the disc, someone making a cut. Even if it was, a horizontal cut into the lane just to get the disc moving, there was always another cut.
Timeout by the Phoenix here, their first of the second half. And that goes to, Trey's strategy, which he articulated very succinctly before the game, just quicker offense. We got to get rid of the disc quick.
Yeah.
Because Montreal has these guys who are great athletes, tenacious D.
Yeah.
And yes, timeout for the Phoenix.
Yeah, and that quicker offense, it's not just
Let me take the skinny.
It's not just
just because I'm supposed to be behaving today.
that skinny offense isn't just coming from the handlers. It's one thing to turn around and look at that throw, but it's another thing for your cutters to be in position ready for that throw to come. Mm-hmm. And that's where Philly's really showing all the work they put in this season of adapting to Trey's offensive stylings, and that cut's always there. It's been there. This half is, now that their offense has gotten a chance to play, uninterrupted, every time that the handlers turned around, there's been someone there to throw it to, which is really something to see.
I think that's a big testament, honestly, to the whole character of this team. You don't have any big marquee stars. You don't have people, like a Goose Helton on Raleigh or
Is Goose on Raleigh right now?
Yeah.
I thought he was still in
boy, is he
the
killing
Midwest
it
somewhere.
for them.
That Raleigh team is loaded.
They really are. Or Bo Kittredge on New York, guys like this who can sort of take the game in hand. Now, I'm not, of course, not saying that we don't have potential for that kind of stardom here. Mike Arcata has been a revelation this season. Some of the stuff he's done, some of the games he's had. Sean Mott, not much of a surprise, but most players in the league know who Sean is.
Well,
they, certainly those who have played him know who he is.
I think Meta, who is technically a rookie, has been one of our breakout stars this season.
No question. No question. And the way Ethan Beck has stepped up.
Yeah.
The critical thing for the Phoenix is they're doing it as a team. And that's why they're so lethal, because they're being underestimated.
Yeah, it also makes them fun to watch, too.
It does. It's enormous good fun. Montreal working it up pretty well here. Scotty Zhu.
Right on the tail.
On Steve Bonneau, who gets it over to Vogel on the near sideline at the 15. He is instantly marked by Bryce Dunn, who is letting him go up line but not across. A big loopy shot from Gabrielle Malfete to Nasser Mbai-Vogel. And
Vogel has really put in work. He's
been a monster today, just in terms of effort.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been all over the field. He might lead the team in points played, too, especially with the struggles they've had on offense.
I wouldn't be surprised. Unfortunately, though, it's still a 9-goal margin.
Oh, yeah, with 5 minutes left.
And Montreal, the Phoenix have just continued to expand it, to their credit.
So this is something that's different about the professionals when most Frisbees played to a point cap, 15 points.
Right.
Now, with the timing, it's tough to stay mentally involved in the game, and I think that Montreal, at the very least, needs to play these last 5 minutes thinking about how they can attack this Philly team if they see them in the playoffs. Because Montreal is still in the thick of the playoff race. Philly could easily make it. And so they should work offensively on how to attack them and defensively try to figure out a way to stop this offense, which has been just, prodigious.
Yeah.
Montreal put the pull down. It's an onside pull. They put the pull down. Philly has, I think, 20 seconds to go and retrieve the pull, or else it's a turn. And Philly was aware of it and managed to hustle down there. Mike's talking to Brian, one of the referees. What was talking about? Yeah. New York tried to do it against the Rush earlier in the season when that first game.
Dangerous idea.
You're not on.
Dustin Damiano. Thank you. Dustin Damiano calls the timeout for the Phoenix.
Yeah, so the Phoenix hustled down, got the disc, called the timeout, I
Good
believe.
for them. to notice that.
Yeah.
Vincent Gamache walking the sideline with an ice pack on his head, trying to cool down. He's been out there so much.
So, just in case anyone is still confused, it's the equivalent of an onside kick in football. The Montreal team put the disc down at the goal line, and then Philly has 20 seconds to recover the disc. If they don't recover the disc, it might be 30 seconds, but if they don't recover the disc in time,
I think 20.
20 seconds?
There's 30 seconds on that.
They have 20 seconds. If they don't recover the disc in time, it's a turnover, and Montreal gets it. So it's risky, but, they have to take risks to get back in this game. I like that play.
Yeah, no, you got to like the gumption of it. But
Probably.
Shawnee Mott at my 1 is not a thing I want to see.
No, I agree. Probably difficult for the timekeeper,
And
too.
boom, Dustin Damiano, who got up there, gets the reward with his 3rd goal.
Look, we don't.
And Sean's 5th assist.
I don't think anything should be entirely results-based. You have to take risks when you're down by this much.
No, I grant you that, especially even with this kind of deficit, and perhaps especially with this kind of deficit.
Certainly.
Because the downside risk is so small, and the upside is so high. This is one of these things. You try it, you lose it, nobody's going to shoot you. You try it and you get it, everybody's going to call you a genius.
Arcada's still arguing with the referee, although I have no idea what it could be about. Now he's grinning, but I don't know what it could be about because
I think it's just clarification.
he's not even walking off the field. Mike, get off the field.
Well, it's funny, in his role as general manager, he kind of gets the...
Yeah, he probably hired all these guys. Hired me. Pollard's got the disc for the pull. I think the way Pollard and Greg Martin have pulled this game has to add a point to the Phoenix. I mean, they've just been so consistently to 15 or deeper.
And they had Esteban Zobayos is the big puller for Montreal, according to Coach Caroline Gadot, excuse me.
They've had a couple more out of bounds.
Oh,
pretty good.
Bonneau with a big crossfield hammer that, guess what? Sorry, Steve. What is that, turnover number 8 or something like this?
Yeah, I haven't marked them all down for Bonneau, but it's a few. It's a handful.
A lot. I know it's over 5. I guarantee you it's over 5. Jordan get through that double team by going to the sideline, and then Massino simply drops it.
Yeah, he was a little too sure thinged it there.
Well,
man.
He did have eyes on it, but boom.
Great grab.
And Jordan Chicharron gets the D back and bombs it up to Ryan Brown. Chicharron has had an auspicious first game here. We have number 1, Brandon
Ryan
Pastor
Brown's leaking out.
it.
Yeah.
To Mike
He goes for it with one hand.
That's
Ryan Brown.
Well, it was kind of high. He didn't have a lot of choice on that.
Oh, get there.
27,
Get there,
Miguel
Pollard.
Godert.
Oh, what a grab.
That's Vogel just using his experience to box out Pollard and then swing it across to Andre Arsenault.
Into the ground.
Who turfs it. Another turn for Andre Arsenault, unfortunately. And who's there but Jordan Chicharron popping it up to James Pollard, who is then double-teamed but puts an easy flick over the top to Scotty Zhu.
Man, that's got to be so frustrating.
Simple flick, and we're back center to Chicharron. Chicharron there,
nice
Massino
grab.
catches that. Changes notion on which hand.
Wow.
Oh, what a catch by Pastor on the sideline.
He led the defense off a little bit there. The defense was playing his hips.
Oh
no,
Scotty throws an instant turnover.
Right to Major. And we got a wide open Arsenault in the deep.
And that's a goal right away. We have a horn from the sideline here for Montreal finally getting something to cheer about.
From Malfete. Gabrielle Malfete to Andre Arsenault.
Yes.
Man.
Still a 9-goal.
Yeah.
For all that effort, a 9-goal deficit.
No, they can keep onsides pulling it. See what happens.
Yeah, right. It's the we got them right where we want them. There's a what was it? It's like that. I don't know. There was somebody who was making a living off comebacks in the playoffs, and being down at the end of the half was dangerous for most teams, but kind of where they wanted to sneak attack you for them. Damiano up to Katzenbach at the 20, double teamed, swings it easily to Ethan Peck, who's just launching a full field
Oh,
flick
let's
for
go,
Mike
Mike.
Arcata. That's going to be a ball.
Lots of room for Mike
That's just
Arcata.
unbelievable.
Lots of room.
Ethan Peck really. Did he spike it over the goalposts?
Yeah.
And then
And
fell.
fell.
Oh, God. Don't do that, Mike.
The post kind of knocked him off
do
balance.
that.
Wait, Mike Arcata just recently able to dunk consistently. He's very proud of it. That's
well,
true.
he's working on it. That
Yeah.
shows you something.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
yeah.
got persistence.
We have a set of weights in the basement, and I would say Mike Arcata spends half of his awake time lifting weights, about 25% doing his GM job, and the other 25% eating.
There's an
So,
interesting thing happening
it's all
on the
Frisbee.
sideline in front of us. Antoine Genet seems to be having a serious problem with something.
his shirt off. That's a sweet tattoo down his whole
He's
back.
discussing it with with Caroline Cadot, and he threw his hat on the ground, not at her apparently. It just, you know, as part of his frustration. But she, as always, is calm, cool, and collected. While we have the Mutt and Jeff of the Ottawa team doing their magic out here. Vincent Gamache and number 12, Jacob Saunders.
He's been their player of the half.
Gamache, yeah. Oh, I think so. If
Vogel
not
probably the
And
game.
the rookie,
There you
Kaush
go.
on this sideline.
Hey, just play him every point now. I mean,
Yeah, he's just out there.
give him experience. You know.
Got Greg Martin marking him, who is a good defensive player, you know, one of the best you'll find. Saunders on the near sideline swings it to Malfete, who looks off.
Wow, almost.
And then gets a sneaky, and here's the rookie.
He's got lots of room back there.
Doesn't even have to jump for it. Greg Martin lays off, and at this point, I think that's a class play on Martin's part. With 1:56 left, you don't have to go busting somebody on what is essentially a meaningless goal at 27-18.
I would play him every point. I would play the rookie every point. He's
Yeah.
19. Give him a lot of reps. Yeah, they're doing it now. Give him a lot of reps. Let him get used to the speed of the game, the format. Next year, he's going to be incredible. So. He's much younger than all of Philly's rookies. Philly's rookies are. I think Meta's like 26. It's rare to see. It's rare to see the Phoenix on the winning side of such a lopsided score. It's exciting to have him be so successful this season.
Yeah, to think about the potential here. I mean, they're going to have some tough road games, but they're nearby, and they got to make the most of those coming up.
Yeah, and they've owned Montreal this season. So if Montreal manages, if they both get into the playoffs, Montreal and Philadelphia, I like Philly's chances because
there goes
Philly's
the
beat
rookie
him 3
trying
times.
Sean Mott on a bladed flick, but
not quite.
Arsenault grabs it on the far side. That's a bad pass.
He didn't see
By
Arsenault coming
Sean.
over from the
yeah,
middle.
no,
but
he didn't see him coming, but still.
It's their first turn of the quarter, the O-line.
Oh, and of course
Oof.
it results in a turn. I'm not. I should be more circumspect, but Montreal has just been careless.
Yeah.
Is there a call on that? Oh no, Ethan. Yeah, they do. Well, Steve is just saying that Montreal relies on hammers. And speaking of which,
They haven't thrown many.
how did Himalaya Meta come down with that?
I don't know.
Double teamed and a Himalaya Meta sandwich. He comes
go,
down with
Arcata,
a Dusty
go.
Damiano with a big flick to guess
Mike
who?
Arcata.
Wide open GM Mike Arcata, who is just putting a lofty disc.
That's
Arsenault is going in there,
That's
and he's going to take it.
interesting decision, Mike.
Yeah, no, Mike.
I'm giving
That's
Arsenault the D.
too predictable. Yeah, you got it. Well, I'm gonna give Arcata the turn on that, just because it's a hang out to dry play. 29 seconds left.
Oh,
We're
no,
inside,
why?
and a turnover
He-
coming up. No, it's caught
great
by the
grab.
rookie, Chaouche, at the 3.
Yeah, bailing out
And-
Jeunesse there.
Oh, really? Genet was going to get scolded. Philippe Bisson with the reception from Chaouche.
Man, what a play by the rookie. Way to stay with it mentally. You know?
It was important. And that's, of course, I'm sure, one of the things Cadot, the coach, Caroline, is looking at today.
Yeah, wow. And he's back out there playing the rest of the game.
That's great.
He's coming off. He's coming off.
Oh, yeah. Well,
No,
no, it looks like he's saying.
He's on.
He gives the air high 10 to number 80, Kevin Grew. On the release, we got you. Yeah, we got you. Yeah, well,
He said something now. He said we had it fine in the first half.
yeah, no. He's just triple checking. It's his gig. No worries, Steve. No insult intended.
17 seconds
Ethan
left.
Peck, Matt Esser, Ryan Brown, Casey Vaughn, Nick DeGiorgio. I'm sorry. I think that's Nick DeGiorgio there.
Their D-line's out here on O-line. Maybe a reward for
oh, shoot, dude.
a reward for playing
And,
so well.
Scotty Shue and Greg Martin down there. Bryce Dunn.
So, do you think it's unsportsmanlike for Philly to try to score here? Because there are 15 seconds left. The game's in the bag, you know.
Yeah, no, just work it. It probably is. I mean, unless it's just wide open. Fake the hucks. But
And now they can just hold it here. Scotty doesn't need to throw again if he
There's
doesn't
no
want
need
to.
to do anything else here.
Really didn't need to throw again.
Just burn clock.
There we go. What
That's
a game.
good play. There's no reason to create ill will at the end of the season going into the playoffs.
Let's go, Phoenix.
So, ladies and gentlemen, an 8-goal win for the Philadelphia Phoenix. Despite the fact that Montreal had a nail-biter last night, this is still an impressive result. They won by 5 their first game here, 26-21. They lost by 3 in Montreal.
No, they beat Montreal by 3.
They
Philly
did?
has not lost to Montreal this season.
Oh, no kidding. I misread that score then.
That's why Montreal, who's currently the second-place team, or was before this game, I guess, it's a big deal if Philly can sneak into that third spot and they
So
play
if they're
Montreal the
tied
first
with them,
weekend.
they'll take that on
Yeah,
head-to-heads.
with a 3-0. Well, they can't tie because Philly has a tie. Philly can
Right.
only tie with DC.
Right.
But if they see them in the playoffs, that's a lot of confidence for Philadelphia. A lot of confidence. Man, what a great game by Philly. I mean,
It really is.
it helps when Montreal's giving you so many opportunities, but their defense took every opportunity and scored with it. Their offense was patient and really impressive. Maybe no breaks. They might not let up any breaks.
I think you have to give credit to the Phoenix for just their team play and their consistency. And a great result in the playoff hunt, 27-19. The final home game for the Phoenix will be Sunday, July 15th against the New York Empire for what I am fairly sure will be a major, unless DC has gone ahead of everybody by then, but has the chances of being a playoff decider.
Ottawa's up 18-15.
Ottawa up 18-15 on DC right now, according to Steve.
Yeah.
So
if you're a Phoenix fan, you're rooting for Ottawa in
you
every game
definitely
Ottawa
are.
plays.
The results of that one pending. We'll have to see what happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Alexander Shregas, Steve Leinert, Pat Gariantes, Nick Halliday, Len Evans, this is Bailey Saul here at AA Garthwaite Stadium saying thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on July 15th for the home season finale against the New York Empire. Thanks for joining us. Take care and have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye.